Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So one big thing that everyone is starting to talk about again now is the ESDR. So if you guys haven't been around for a while, this really started back in around like 2018, 2017 with XRP. Jim Rickards put out a post back in 2018 where he said, "People are saying, as a quote, is not my idea of a reliable source." Because again, there was a big discussion around XRP becoming this ESDR or even an SDR or a reserve currency. And he said, that said, even the IMF needs devs, and I'm sure Ripple has some good ones. That doesn't mean XRP will be a reserve asset. More likely, it's an ESDR. And he was actually quoting this post because what we were seeing was, "Hello, Jim. Christine Lagarde of the IMF said that she can see a digital asset coupled with the SDR in the future. What is your opinion on that happening?" He said, "It will happen, but it will be controlled by the IMF, not a bunch of freelance devs." He said, "Thanks for the reply, Jim. The company, Ripple, is working with 40 plus central banks, and they are on the IMF task force. So people are saying the digital asset will be XRP that Ripple uses. That will be coupled with the SDR for global liquidity. What are your thoughts on this?" And that's where we had this response. Now, it is currently 2024, and this is almost 6 years later now. And we are starting to get a little bit more of a discussion regarding the ESDR with XRP. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, I feel as though everyone needs to understand what an SDR actually is. And big shout out to XRP Drops for actually posting this video, because this is from the IMF and they're explaining what special drawing rights or an special drawing rights would be. We have key takeaways. Special drawing rights, or SDRs, are an artificial currency instrument created by the International Monetary Fund, which uses them for internal accounting purposes. The value of the SDR is calculated from a weighted basket of major currencies, including the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the Chinese renminbi, and the British pound, 2 International Monetary Fund special drawing rights. The SDR interest rate provides the basis for calculating the interest rate charged to member countries when they borrow from the IMF and is paid to members for their remunerated creditor positions in the IMF. SDRs are allocated based on the quota amount of each member country. The higher the quota amount, the larger the SDR allocation a country will receive. Stronger economies generally have higher quotas. SDRs can be used to exchange for other currencies, the repayment of loans, payments of obligations, pledges, the payment of interest on loans, or paying for increases in quota amounts. Now, there is a full video attached here. It is almost 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play this because, again, this is the overall breakdown of what an SDR actually is and all the information that you really need to know. I'm not going to waste your guys' time by showing you guys a 5-minute long video regarding how SDRs really work, because for the most part, this is pretty much all you really need to know. But how is XRP possibly going to become an ESDR, or how could this happen? Well, big shout out to Smoke Dog. He actually put out a post regarding XRP and SDRs. So we have, remember, XRP is the only cryptocurrency with the features and functionality to properly serve as an ESDR, or an special drawing rights stablecoin, to facilitate transactions between multi-currency corridors. And it is possible to envisage even more adventurous arrangements. For instance, a special drawing rights-based stablecoin issued by a multilateral agency, proposed supranational currency, which, by the way, there was a lot of talks around that in prior years regarding XRP becoming that supranational currency. Nothing really came from that. Again, a lot of the things that were talked about back in like 2018, 2019, and even 2020 really never seen the light of day. But I still also believe that there's a lot of things that are in progress regarding some things. I don't think that XRP is going to become this supranational currency, but I do think that XRP could be very well positioned as that global bridge currency, which would be exchangeable with any national currency. Any national currency could thus be convertible into any other national currency in 2 steps via the stablecoin. Such an arrangement would resemble the cross-border payment system that Ripple currently operates with its XRP cryptocurrency, and is just one of the variety of possible alternatives. Any democratic alternative should allow for private sector solutions. Multi-currency corridors, for instance, should not rule out the use of regulated private stablecoins or cryptocurrencies, even though such solutions might require additional regulation, as discussed below. Now, this is definitely something to note, considering the fact that XRP definitely has a big opportunity here, because XRP does have clarity, full-on clarity from the courts, but also XRP definitely has that utility behind it that could settle anything of value between two national currencies, which is a big deal. But also, outside of this, we also got this post from Smokedog, because a lot of people were questioning, why would the IMF pick Ripple? There's various signs, but there's a few. Brad Garlinghouse presentation to the IMF on XRP network. Ripple is the only company monitors suspicious activities on the blockchain, and Ripple was selected to serve on the IMF advisory group. Also remember that there's a ton of private meetings between Ripple and also the IMF. But check this out.
Competition, because it requires capital to get it there. Our view in the future is you don't have to have this pre-funding, and instead you can use a digital asset to have global liquidity on demand. Now, we build upon a tech stack, an open source technology called XRP. XRP originally was built by some engineers who had seen some of the flaws of Bitcoin and the challenges of scalability around Bitcoin, where Bitcoin today, on a per transaction basis, it's rather slow and rather expensive. XRP is very, very fast, about 1,000 times faster per transaction and 1,000 times cheaper per transaction. The other dynamic, of course, of correspondent banking is some of the more quote-unquote exotic currencies, exotic corridors have been left to kind of stand on their own. And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and a level playing field. Ripple's vision from the beginning really has been to apply these technologies in the same way that TCP/IP and HTTP are the technologies underpinning the Internet of Information. These blockchain technologies will be the underpinnings of an Internet of Value, where we have connected devices, we have connected information that will allow payments to flow. And as Norman was describing, if you're a large corporation moving $100 million, that's one thing. If you're a freelancer working in the Philippines doing design work for a company in London and you want to get paid $30 or 30 pesos, Philippine pesos, that's not a transaction that can easily be enabled. And in fact, for the companies that enable that, they require the freelancer to set up an account, and they don't actually pay it out until there's roughly 1,000 USD sitting in that account, and then they would pay it out.
And again, this was the original focus, and it still is the focus of Ripple's. And this is all based around the Internet of Value. And for a lot of people that think that, like, oh, it's old news, it's things that, never really got realized in, the Internet of Value is still underway. It's still, a thing that is being mentioned by the IMF, by the BIS, by the World Bank, you name it. A lot of these organizations have been focused on the Internet of Value for so long. But the thing is, like, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's this, it's that. It's none of those. We know that it's none of those because they specifically, and when I say they, I mean a lot of the central bankers, a lot of the big organizations, they've even mentioned how Bitcoin is not sustainable for it. They even mentioned how Ethereum is also not sustainable for it. XRP has been around for well over a decade. It's done incredibly well for payments. It's proven its point and its utility behind it as well. XRP was specifically designed and created for a lot of these major initiatives around DeFi, tokenization, payments. I mean, realistically speaking, XDC is in a prime position for this. But also over here,
but let's just take it one.
We have another video. This is about 1 minute and 42 seconds long. Listen closely to this as well. There's 2 more clips after this.
Aware of that. But let's just take it one step further. Even if we did introduce AML regulation that was globally applicable to all institutions, all digital currency exchanges, irrespective of jurisdiction, I want to tell you, it won't really, it's not going to be able to effectively handle the transaction risk, because all transactions are happening underneath, on the blockchain, underneath these digital currency exchanges. The transactions that are going through the exchanges, yes, they're going to be monitoring that type of activity, but who is monitoring the transactions that are conducted on the blockchains themselves? There is no financial institution today, there's no company today, with the possible exception of Ripple Labs, that has been required by regulators to monitor and report on suspicious activities that are being conducted on the blockchain. Oops. Digital wallets. They can be established on the blockchain by anyone from anywhere. They don't have to be opened through a digital currency exchange. They have global reach once they're opened for instant access to cross-border transfers, and they're easily accessible via the internet. I want to give you an idea. This is what a digital wallet address looks like on a blockchain. I've given you an example here of a Ripple wallet address here, and there's a Bitcoin wallet address. That's what you see on a blockchain. The cryptocurrencies are transferred from one address to another address, and in most cases, there's no other additional identifying information associated with those wallets. You can't even determine with any degree of confidence where those wallets are located because of IP address spoofing. It masks where the sender is based, and it shows that it's coming from a different location. So what was Ripple going to do? You see hundreds of thousands of these addresses all over XRP Ledger, and at Ripple we had to connect allegations of unusual activity, thefts, crime, phishing scams, pyramid schemes. Users reported into us alleged illegal activity. We opened a repository for them to deposit their reports, and we used that then to create an investigation and to try and link all of this suspicious activity to identify culprits, to identify high-level patterns of activity on XRP Ledger that could potentially be suspicious given the information that we had available to us.
Now, on the next slide over here is where we start to kind of see a few things unfold, and a few of the things that Ripple has been focused on initially, but also the connections that Ripple has had in the past and still does today. So again, talking about the efficiencies behind XRP, talking about the wallets, talking about the monitoring of suspicious activity, which is a crucial thing to note as well around the blockchain, all of that is things that need to be put in place in order for Ripple and even XRP as well to be tapped in by the IMF or a lot of these big groups. I also think that this is why the BIS just recently, last summer, also started working with Ripple regarding the CPMI. But here we have the Ripple infrastructure innovation. Here we have regulatory and policy engagement, ongoing engagement with 40 plus regulators. Again, the IMF is a big one because Ripple was selected to serve on the IMF's high-level advisory group on fintech. Mind you, they were selected to serve on this. And they were also selected to serve on the steering committee of this industry strategic initiative for the Federal Reserve Faster Payments. You also have the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority and Bank of England Accelerator Program. Then on the last slide here, we have the central idea is still built around an international non-national currency, and XRP could just fit the bill. It already does in most ways. The IMF acting together with the World Banks, or the World's Bank, as a central bank for central banks, could use XRP as a settlement means between the banks of the world while keeping balance along with the bilateral relationships. The IMF's leader has singled out Ripple in the past, calling it a disruptor, for instance, above other digital assets, which shows that she's very well about Ripple, its technologies, and its currency. So it would only make sense for the IMF to take advantage of Ripple's XRP already developed networks, technology, and reliability to bring forward the next world's financial system, which is a big quote. But also, regardless of this, remember that the BIS is also selecting Ripple, which could expose XRP as that settlement means between all major banks, because the BIS is also looked at as the central bank of central banks. But outside of this, remember the coming reset of the International Monetary System PDF file. Although that this was just an idea or a theory, I actually think that this is the most probable idea around a global financial system, because on par with the SDR or the ESDR, I don't really think of XRP as an ESDR or anything like that. So here we have the coming reset of the International Monetary System. We have gold at the top, which is the backing of this new financial system. We have that SDR, which would be defined as equal to a specified weight in gold. And then we also have tier 2, which is all local currencies. And these are the CBDCs, as you guys do see on the bottom half of this next to the United States, the Eurozone, Japan, China, and the United Kingdom. Now, all of this is determined in terms of fixed rates tied back to gold. And what's funny about this is I think this got posted initially around 2020. So this was about roughly 4 years ago. And today we have gold buying at record levels, which we'll address. But here we have XRP, where XRP comes into play. So in order to participate in the new gold SDR system, a member nation would have an open capital account, meaning that its currency would have to be freely convertible into SDR's gold or currencies of the other participating members. And again, XRP would act as that bridge currency between digital central bank digital currencies, with, the idea of interoperability being realized in by XRP being that bridge currency. And this is where XRP would also be defined as a specified quantity of SDRs, just like the local currency. So the price of XRP would change that determination. Now, is this all going to happen? We don't know, but in my opinion, this makes the most amount of sense considering the fact that gold would essentially be revalued, which it seems as though gold is kind of getting to that point now. But then also gold would be fractionalized by tokenization. So now you have gold fractionalized, revalued, backing the financial system. You have XRP in a prime position to be that global bridge currency. And you also have CBDCs being realized in. And this doesn't seem too unlikely when you look at the surrounding nature of the current financial system and all of the major events in the last couple years. In fact, we just saw the Chinese leader indicate that his nation would be a bigger voice for the world's developing economies. They're all stockpiling gold, follow the facts. He criticized unilateral sanctions, geopolitical rivalry, and bloc politics. While he didn't identify any country, the remarks were clear references to the U.S. policy towards China in recent years. And then outside of that, we also have, we all get lost in information, but one thing that is not discussed enough is Zimbabwe was public or has publicly expressed interest in joining BRICS and is now considering backing its currency with gold. With many countries dealing with plummeting currencies, this is a signal of the future. And outside of just Zimbabwe, because again, a lot of people will say, well, oh, that's a small country. Well, guess what? Go over to this report. Gold demand to hit record with central bank buying. And this is just recently. This is from January 31st of this year. And when we scroll down, right, we could actually see the gold demand from OTC to boost prices in 2024. And we could see all of the movement from back in 2011. Guys, in 2023, this was a 752.7% growth rate. That is absolutely insane. If we scroll down as well, we could see that central bank buying maintained a breakneck pace with annual net purchases of 1,037 tons last year, just 45 tons shy of the record set in 2022. The WGC said in the report it expects central bank buying to top 500 tons this year. This is most likely going to continue. Central banks are buying gold in heavy amounts. We could see that here. This is what change looks like. We are about to witness something very significant. We don't know what it's going to look like. I would argue that this is the best way to look at it. And I've shared this in the past before. But something is going to happen. And that something does have major ties back to CBDCs, stablecoins, cryptocurrencies, blockchain and DLT technology. It's all tied together. There's all connections back to all of this. And we know this because of everything that we have been researching. Now, is XRP going to be an ESDR? We don't know. We don't know for certain if that's going to be the case. Nobody does. But there is definitely a lot of connections back to the IMF. The IMF has put a spotlight on Ripple. They have put a spotlight on XRP. Ripple has been working with a lot of these organizations for a very long time. Ripple has been in private meetings with a lot of these big organizations as well. There's a lot of things happening at a fast pace around our current monetary system. Outside of the US, there is significant change already happening. There's a major pushback against the US dollar. Things are happening at rapid pace. We're not seeing the price action in XRP or anything like that because it doesn't pertain to XRP at this current moment in time. But all of these things that are happening, the changes that are happening right now, it all pertains to cryptocurrencies and the technology behind them. That's why I'm fully focused on this. There is a major reset happening. It's coming. We can clearly see that. It's only a matter of time. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on it because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join for Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.